Good afternoon. Hi, can all of you hear me? Everybody can hear me in the back? Perfect, thank you so much. Okay guys, so welcome to GTC's presentation today. You can find us at booth number 30. And today I'm going to be discussing a little bit about the GTC brand. I only have 15 minutes. I'm also going to be discussing what types of trends we might see in global financial markets over the final quarter of 2024. I'm sure all of you will agree that 2024 so far has been an interesting year on different fronts, and I do think that some of that uncertainty will continue over the remainder of this year. But of course, I don't provide investment advice. I'm just going to talk about educational purposes, but before I continue, I just need to read to you our disclaimer. Over-the-counter margin derivative contracts, including contracts for difference and spot foreign exchange, are complex instruments and come with a high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. You should consider whether you understand how these products work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. Independent professional advice is highly recommended before investing. This seminar and this content you're about to see is for educational purposes only and will not include any recommendations or advice. So, who am I? I've been in this industry for just over 10 years as a chief analyst. I have this amazing job where on a weekly basis I could be on a different part of the world, and I'm also appearing on global television networks. I am based in Dubai, but I can tell you that the past couple of months have been so busy. Actually, last month I was only in Dubai for about 2 to 3 different days. We provide a lot of different educational content, and one thing I can say about the GTC brand is that core values are sharing knowledge and providing client education. This coming Wednesday, we will have a seminar in Dubai. If you want to find out more about this seminar and how to participate, please come to our booth. That is booth number 30, and you can find out more information there. The GTC brand is also expanding globally. Once again, you can find out more about our brand at our booth number 30, but some of the different events and some of the different exhibitions that we have participated in over the past couple of months are on this slide just here. As a brokerage, we have received and obtained more than 50 different awards. If you want to find out more about our brand, you can also visit our website. And as a global company, our global GTC brand is regulated and licensed as a brand with the following jurisdictions. With that in mind, guys, who wants to find out a little bit about what types of trends we might see in global financial markets over the coming quarter? Who's interested in the price of gold? Can I have a show of hands? There we go. I thought that would be an interesting one for this presentation. So clearly, guys, 2024 has been historic. I've had and seen so many different all-time highs in the price of gold that in fact I've lost count. I thought that 2,500 would be the ceiling. But unfortunately and with regret, we do have a very uncertain geopolitical situation, and on a daily basis that does appear to be getting worse. Other than that, we continue to see that world markets also hitting record highs, and globally the themes of low interest rates, inflation, and so forth are continuing to be major trending topics. You know, it was actually the inflation shock from 2 years ago that provided the highest interest rate outlook that we've seen in maybe a generation, for some of us in our lifetimes. But we are starting to see inflation come back down towards the trend, and we're starting to see some optimism that lower interest rates are coming back. As a result of lower interest rates, we've seen the price of gold continue to remain on an aggressive uptrend throughout 2024. If we go about 1 year back, the price of gold is up about 600 to 700 US dollars. That's more than a quarter of its value overall. At the same time, we also have world markets, specifically in the US, that are continuing to hit record highs. Now, the outlook was, and throughout the past 3 quarters, for as long as the central banks keep indicating the low interest rates are coming, that we should continue to see more record highs for markets. But my specific risk is that sometimes what is not priced in might mean is what's making investors uncertain. This quarter, we have the US presidential elections. We have uncertainty over how much lower central banks can reduce interest rates. And unfortunately, the geopolitical uncertainty continues to escalate. So what I would like to do at this point is actually just have a show of hands. Who thinks that from current levels of gold, we can continue to see more record highs? Okay, who thinks that gold might be in for some profit taking? This is one of the aspects in markets that I would always point out, that the gold trade right now is completely overtraded. I mean, it's over one-sided. Yes, if we look at the uncertainty that's happening in the world, if we look at some of the difficult geopolitical situations that we regrettably remain in, then yes, gold prices can continue to go up. But I would also put a different perspective on this. Who thinks Kamala Harris is going to win the US presidential elections? Just 1 month away. Okay, who thinks that the former president, Mr. Trump, is going to return to the White House? Okay, so what I would say to that is, who remembers that from last time, Trump was fantastic for US financial markets, and he was fantastic for the US dollar. So what happens if the US dollar and the greenback continues to strengthen? If we look at some of our candlesticks just here, we actually saw that 2024 lows around this time. But following that escalation we saw in the region just under 1 week ago, we've actually seen the dollar index continue to climb. It's recovering. What if, unfortunately, this very regrettable, very uncertain situation continues to get worse? What if investors look for the US currency? Who was trading or watching markets during COVID, the initial shock of the pandemic? Anybody here? During that time, gold prices actually fell. Everything fell. But the dollar index increased. Now, of course, this situation that we're facing now is very uncertain. It's regrettable, and my heart goes out to anybody who's in the region that's impacted by this. But what we might be able to compare it to is the geopolitical situation that unfolded 2 years ago in Eastern Europe. This is the same chart of the dollar index. And actually what we saw when that unfortunate conflict started to escalate is the greenback went on an absolute rampage. As we can see from our circles here, we had different elements from investors seeking the US currency as an asset of safety. Do not forget the US currency is the world reserve currency of the world. We had high interest rate policy, and we had very strong US economic data. Many of those themes remain in place today. So what if everybody's already put all of their money into gold, into their portfolios? I'm not saying it can't continue to go up, but what I'm saying is, from an analyst perspective, what if we should be looking at a different asset? Maybe we should be looking at the US currency. The current trend, if we look at what's happened over the past 1 week, does suggest that institutional investors are starting to look towards the US currency as well. So I'm just providing some food for thought. Unfortunately, I only have less than 5 minutes, but there's so much to talk about when it comes to global financial markets this year. Let's talk a little bit more about what's going to happen next month. We are just under 1 month away now from the presidential elections. And actually, I'm with the majority of the room here. My perspective is that the former president is going to come back. What does that mean for the world? Magnon, it means craziness, right? It's a bit more uncertainty. Perhaps financial markets are going to be a little bit more sensitive towards Twitter feeds and towards conferences and so on. So what I could say is that last time we had the Make America Great Again. If he wins and gets a second term, I expect it to be Make America Great on steroids. Last time, the pro tactics will be nothing like the US tactics from if he wins. He's going to continue to call out the Federal Reserve, US central bank policy, which is a big risk for investor confidence. However, the inspiration that his voter base takes from pro-America policies, patriotism, all of those more soft skills and elements, that's very pro for the US currency, and it's very pro for US financial markets. It might mean a lot of different global uncertainty, but we can take what happened last time as maybe an indication of what potentially is going to happen this time. Whereas, if we do have the Democratic candidate win, at the moment it appears to be around 50-50, but what I would say as somebody who comes to the United Kingdom who didn't expect Brexit, you never say never to anything in international finance. So I just want to briefly talk about maybe some trends we can expect if we have Kamala Harris as the next President of the United States. Pretty much everything will continue as normal. The same themes impacting international financial markets, from inflation, geopolitics, from interest rate policy, and so forth, I expect to remain, which means that the same themes we're seeing in global asset classes right now, which is world markets continue to attempt new record highs, gold prices seem to be very much in demand, a little bit of indecision when it comes to how much lower the US central bank could reduce interest rates. I expect the continuation of those themes. But again, as an analyst, as somebody who watches the market, and as a potential trader in the room right now, I would always say it's the unforeseen and it's the unknown which you might have to react to. And that's why I think that the financial market dynamics will become a lot more uncertain. It will become a lot more interesting if we do have the former president back in power. I was there in China on the day that President Trump won in 2016. The whole city was completely shocked in Shanghai, I think globally. But one thing that I do remember is that everybody was glued to their smartphones. Why? Because we had this major world power become and start tweeting. And I'd never seen financial markets react to a Twitter feed before. Don't be surprised if we see similar trends again. Unfortunately, my time is up for today. I am here for the next 2 days. You can find me at booth number 30. You can find out more about the GTC brand at booth number 30. I understand we just covered a lot of different themes in just under 15 minutes. I hope you found this useful. If you can come to the seminar this Wednesday, then I will be talking more about global financial market trends. Apart from that, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to Dubai. And I hope to see you again soon, guys. Thank you so much.